The city buzzed with life as the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the streets in hues of gold and amber. Amid the crowd, a young girl, no older than 20, stood by the corner of a bustling market, her small hands carefully arranging baskets of fresh strawberries. Her clothes were simple, worn from years of use, and her face, though delicate, held the weight of struggles far beyond her age. She was Anna, a girl who had known hardship for as long as she could remember. Vendors shouted, customers bargained, and cars honked in the distance, but Anna remained focused, her dark eyes scanning for potential buyers. The scent of ripe strawberries lingered in the air, sweet yet tinged with the reality of survival. Every sale mattered. Every coin she earned meant food on the table for another day. As she straightened her baskets, laughter erupted nearby, a sound that carried arrogance and privilege. 3 young men, dressed in crisp designer suits, walked through the market with the kind of confidence only wealth could provide. Their presence turned heads, their striking features and expensive watches setting them apart from the common folk. James, the eldest at 26, had an air of authority, his sharp jawline and piercing blue eyes making him the natural leader. Lucas, a year younger, exuded charm with a mischievous smile, his blonde hair styled effortlessly. The youngest, Daniel, barely 22, was softer in demeanor but equally spoiled by the luxuries of life. They had come to the market for amusement, not necessity. To them, this place was nothing more than a glimpse into a world far beneath their own. "Look at this," Lucas smirked, nudging James as his gaze landed on Anna. A girl selling strawberries on the street. How tragic. James chuckled, stepping closer. "I didn't know people still did this. How much do you make in a day? Enough to buy a single meal?" Anna stiffened, gripping the basket handle tighter. She was used to dismissive glances, to people pretending she didn't exist, but outright mockery, that was something else. "I sell enough to survive," she answered, her voice steady but laced with quiet defiance. Daniel tilted his head, studying her. There was something in her dark eyes, something familiar, but he couldn't place it. Still, he joined his brothers in laughter. "Maybe she should get a real job," Lucas scoffed, tossing a coin into her basket as if he were doing her a favor. "Here, consider this charity." Anna's face burned with humiliation. She wanted to throw the coin back at him, but she knew better than to create a scene. Instead, she met his gaze and spoke with quiet dignity. "I don't need your charity. If you're not here to buy, please leave." Lucas raised an eyebrow, clearly not used to being dismissed. James, however, seemed entertained by her boldness. "You have spirit, I'll give you that," he said, crossing his arms. "But tell me, why waste your life here? You're young. There are better ways to make money than sitting on the street like a beggar." Anna clenched her jaw. "Not everyone is born with wealth." James smirked. "Well, that's unfortunate for you, isn't it?" The words stung, but Anna refused to let them see it. She turned away, focusing on her strawberries, willing them to leave. Daniel hesitated. Something about her felt unsettlingly familiar, but before he could dwell on it, James clapped him on the back. "Let's go, we've had our fun." With one last glance at Anna, the brothers walked away, their laughter fading into the noise of the city. Anna exhaled slowly, gripping the edge of her basket to steady herself. It wasn't the first time she had been looked down upon, and it wouldn't be the last, but as she watched them disappear into the crowd, she couldn't shake the strange feeling in her chest, an unexplainable pull, as if she had just crossed paths with something meant to change her life forever. The evening rush slowed as the market neared closing, yet Anna remained seated on her small wooden crate, her hands resting on her lap as her mind replayed the encounter with the 3 young men. Their words had been sharp, their arrogance suffocating. But beneath all of that, something else lingered. An unsettling familiarity in the way they spoke, the way the youngest one, Daniel, had hesitated as if he had seen a ghost. She shook off the thought. It didn't matter who they were. Wealthy men like them would never understand what it meant to struggle, to go to sleep hungry, to wake up unsure if the next day would bring food or only more suffering. She had learned long ago that self-pity was useless. She had to keep moving, keep fighting. As the last of the customers left, Anna carefully packed up the remaining strawberries, securing them in a cloth sack. The streets were quieter now, lit only by the flickering yellow glow of streetlights. She made her way down the familiar narrow alleyways, her home tucked away in a forgotten corner of the city, where only those who had nowhere else to go resided. The small apartment she shared with Mrs. Carter, an elderly woman who had taken her in years ago, was modest, a single room with a tiny kitchen and a bed they took turns using. It was not much, but it was home. As she stepped inside, Mrs. Carter looked up from the old chair by the window, her kind eyes searching Anna's face. "You're late today, child," she said softly. "Was business good?" Anna forced a small smile, setting down the strawberries. "Enough to get by." Mrs. Carter nodded knowingly. "I warmed some soup for you. Eat before you rest." Anna sat at the small table, sipping the lukewarm broth. The warmth spread through her, easing the weariness in her bones. As she ate, Mrs. Carter watched her carefully. "You seem troubled. Something happened?" Anna hesitated before setting her spoon down. "Some rich men mocked me today. They treated me like I was nothing." The old woman sighed. "The world is full of people who think money makes them better than others. But their wealth does not define them, just as your struggles do not define you." Anna nodded, but the weight in her chest remained. There was something more, something deeper she couldn't understand. Meanwhile, in a towering glass building on the other side of the city, James, Lucas, and Daniel sat in their father's grand office. The vast windows overlooked the skyline, the city stretching endlessly before them. Their father, Richard Hamilton, was a powerful man, the kind who built his fortune from steel and industry, leaving no room for weakness in his sons. "So," Richard said, setting down his whiskey glass. "How was your evening?" James smirked. "Entertaining as always." Lucas chuckled. "We met a girl selling strawberries. She had quite the attitude for someone in her position." Richard raised a brow. "A street vendor? Why waste time with someone like that?" "She was different," Daniel muttered, his mind still replaying the moment he locked eyes with Anna. There had been something in her gaze, something unsettlingly familiar. James scoffed. She was just another poor girl trying to make ends meet. Nothing special. But Daniel wasn't so sure. That feeling in his chest, the nagging sense of recognition, refused to fade. Later that night, as Anna lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and Daniel sat awake in his penthouse suite, lost in thought, neither of them realized that their pasts were beginning to unravel. The truth, buried for 15 long years, was waiting to be uncovered. And when it did, their worlds would never be the same. Anna woke up before the sun rose, the faint chill of the morning air seeping through the cracks in the old apartment walls. She moved carefully, not wanting to wake Mrs. Carter, and quietly gathered her baskets. The market wouldn't open for hours, but she needed time to prepare, to set up her small corner before the crowd arrived. Yet as she stepped outside, something felt different. A strange heaviness hung in the air, a sense that something unseen was shifting around her. She shook it off and walked toward the market, her worn shoes tapping softly against the pavement. Across the city, in a grand estate surrounded by iron gates and towering trees, Daniel sat at the long dining table, stirring his untouched coffee. His brothers chatted about their business dealings, their father reading the newspaper as the staff moved around them, setting plates of food that none of them truly appreciated. But Daniel wasn't listening. His thoughts were still with the girl from yesterday. The way she had spoken, the fire in her eyes. It lingered in his mind, gnawed at something deep inside him. And then there was that strange pull, as if he had known her before, in another life. Daniel. His father's sharp voice broke through his thoughts. He straightened, clearing his throat. Sorry, what? Richard Hamilton sighed. I asked if you finalized the plans for the new real estate project downtown. Daniel hesitated. Not yet, James scoffed. What's wrong with you? You've been distracted since last night. Lucas smirked. Don't tell me you're still thinking about that strawberry girl. Daniel clenched his jaw. There was something about her. James rolled his eyes. Oh, please, don't turn this into some ridiculous rich boy meets poor girl fantasy. She's just some vendor, Daniel, nothing more. Daniel wasn't sure about that. Later that afternoon, when James and Lucas left for a meeting, Daniel found himself wandering through the city. He didn't know what he was looking for, but something kept leading him back to the marketplace. And then he saw her. Anna was there, seated behind her small wooden crate, her hands neatly arranging the strawberries just as she had the day before. She didn't notice him at first, her dark hair falling softly around her face as she worked. For a long moment, he just watched. She looked familiar. But why? Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. Hey! Anna looked up, her eyes narrowing when she recognized him. You again. Daniel hesitated. I wanted to apologize for yesterday. She raised an eyebrow. Apologize? My brothers and I... He exhaled. We were rude. I'm sorry. Anna studied him for a moment before looking away. Apology or not, it doesn't change anything. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? She met his gaze then, something flickering behind her eyes. It doesn't change the way people like you see people like me. To you, I'm just a poor girl selling strawberries. He swallowed hard. It's not like that. Isn't it? Daniel didn't have an answer, because deep down he knew she was right. But before he could say anything else, a voice called out from behind them. Anna! An older man approached, his clothes dusty from the road, his face lined with worry. I need to talk to you. Anna stood immediately. Mr. Nolan, what is it? The man hesitated before lowering his voice. It's about your past. I think I found something. Daniel watched as Anna's expression changed, something like fear and hope colliding in her eyes. And at that moment, he realized, whatever this was, whatever her past held, he wasn't just a bystander anymore. He was part of it. Anna's heart pounded in her chest. The weight of Mr. Nolan's words settled over her like a heavy fog. Her past, the one she had spent years trying to piece together, was suddenly within reach. But was she ready for it? She swallowed hard. What do you mean? Mr. Nolan glanced at Daniel uneasily before lowering his voice. I found someone who might have answers about your family, but we need to talk somewhere private. Anna nodded, her hands trembling slightly as she gathered her things. She turned to Daniel, expecting him to leave, to walk away like all the other wealthy men who had nothing to do with her world. But he didn't. He just stood there, watching her, an unreadable expression on his face. Are you going to follow me? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Daniel hesitated. I think I should. She scoffed. Why? You think you can fix something with your money? His jaw tightened. Number, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to be here. Something in his tone made her pause. There was no arrogance in it, no mockery, just a quiet sincerity she hadn't expected. After a moment, she turned to Mr. Nolan. Where do we go? Half an hour later, they were seated in the dimly lit back room of an old bookshop, the smell of dust and paper thick in the air. Mr. Nolan shuffled through a worn folder, his fingers trembling slightly. I told you before that I'd been searching for records about your family, he began, glancing up at Anna. Today, I found something important. Anna's breath caught. Go on. Mr. Nolan pulled out an old newspaper clipping and set it on the table. The headline sent a chill through her. Tragic accident leaves young girl missing, presumed dead. Her fingers trembled as she picked up the paper. The date, 15 years ago. The photo, blurry but familiar. A mansion, its gates standing tall. A family name printed in bold, Hamilton. Anna's breath hitched. I don't understand. Mr. Nolan cleared his throat. Anna, this article is about you. Silence. She felt the blood drain from her face. Her mind refused to process the words. No, she whispered. That's not possible. Daniel, who had been silent the entire time, slowly reached for the newspaper. As his eyes scanned the text, his expression changed. Confusion, then shock. His voice wavered. This is my family. Anna's head snapped toward him. What? Daniel looked at her, something unraveling inside him. This is my family's house, my parents, my brothers. This article, it's saying that 15 years ago, my sister went missing. Anna couldn't breathe. No, she murmured. That doesn't make sense. My family. You were adopted, Anna, Mr. Nolan said gently. You were found on the streets as a child, but before that, you were someone else. Daniel stared at her, his hands shaking. You're my sister? The words felt foreign, impossible. Anna recoiled, shaking her head. No, that can't be true. But deep down, something in her chest tightened. The familiarity she had felt when she looked at Daniel, the strange pull in her heart. Was this why? Mr. Nolan sighed. I think you need to see for yourself. He slid another paper forward. There's a DNA test we can do. If you want answers, this is the way. Anna's world tilted. Everything she had believed about her life, her identity, was it all a lie? Daniel's voice was quiet. Anna, if this is true. He swallowed hard. We've been looking for you our whole lives. Anna couldn't move, couldn't speak. She had spent 15 years believing she was nobody, and now she might be the sister of the very men who had mocked her. The truth was right in front of her. But was she ready to face it? Anna sat in stunned silence, her entire world unraveling before her eyes. The idea that she belonged to the Hamilton family, the same family that had humiliated her just days ago, felt too impossible to accept. But deep inside, something in her heart whispered that it was true. Daniel was still staring at her, his hands clenched on the table, as if he, too, was struggling to process what they had just learned. Finally, he spoke. Anna, if you really are our sister, we need to know. His voice was softer now, almost pleading. Please, let's do the DNA test. Anna's throat tightened. A part of her wanted to refuse, to run away and pretend none of this had happened. But she had spent her entire life wondering who she really was. If there was even a chance that this was the truth, could she walk away from it? She looked at Mr. Nolan, her voice barely above a whisper. Where do we do it? The days that followed were a blur. The test was taken, and then came the excruciating wait. Anna still went to the market, still sold strawberries, but everything felt different now. Every time she looked at Daniel, or even thought about his brothers, her chest tightened with fear and uncertainty. And then, the results came in. Anna sat in the clinic, her hands gripping the edges of the chair. Daniel was beside her, his usual arrogance replaced with quiet nervousness. James and Lucas had come too, though neither of them had spoken much since hearing about the test. The doctor entered the room, holding an envelope. The air was so thick with tension, Anna thought she might choke on it. The doctor sighed and looked at her. "Anna, the results confirm it. You are biologically related to the Hamilton family." Silence. For a long moment, no one moved, no one breathed. Anna felt like the ground had been ripped from under her. Daniel exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Oh my God!" Lucas and James sat frozen, their faces unreadable. Anna shook her head, her voice trembling. "No, there has to be a mistake." The doctor's voice was gentle. "There is no mistake. The test is conclusive." A tear slipped down Anna's cheek, but she didn't even feel it. All these years, she had thought she was abandoned, forgotten, but she had a family, one she never knew about, and they had mocked her. The thought hit her like a knife to the heart. The same brothers who had called her worthless had been searching for her all along. Did they regret it now? Did they even want her as their sister? James cleared his throat, breaking the silence. This is insane." He looked at her, his usual smugness gone. "You're really... Anna?" Anna wiped her face quickly, forcing herself to stay strong. "I guess I am." Lucas let out a breath, rubbing the back of his neck. "I don't even know what to say." Daniel turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Do you remember anything from when you were little?" Anna hesitated. "Number, I don't remember much before living on the streets." Silence fell again, heavy with everything unsaid. Then Daniel spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "We looked for you for years." He swallowed hard. "We thought we lost you forever." James let out a bitter chuckle. "And when we finally find her, what do? Insult her like complete idiots." Lucas rubbed his face. "We're the worst brothers in history." Anna clenched her fists. "Yes, you are." They all turned to her. She took a shaky breath. "Do you have any idea what my life has been like? I struggled every single day while you lived in a mansion. I starved while you had everything." Her voice broke. "And then, when you finally meet me, you treat me like garbage." Daniel's face was filled with guilt. "Anna, we didn't know." "That doesn't change what you did." A heavy silence followed. Finally, Lucas spoke. "I know we don't deserve forgiveness, but please, let us make it right." Anna didn't know if she could forgive them, not yet, but for the first time in her life, she wasn't alone. She had a family, a broken, complicated, and flawed family, but still your family. She wiped her tears and stood. "I don't know what happens next, but if you really want to be my brothers, you're going to have to earn it." Daniel nodded. "We will." James sighed. "You're going to make us work for it, aren't you?" Anna gave a small, shaky smile. "Oh, absolutely." Lucas grinned. "Yeah, she's definitely our sister." For the first time in years, Anna felt something unfamiliar. Hope, and maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something new. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Stories of Hope for more real-life tales of resilience and unexpected reunions.